In this video, I'll share preparation techniques and will help you assess your level of HR knowledge to create a study plan that will guide you in allocating the appropriate amount of study time. HRCI exams are based on the functional areas of the HR buck, so learn as much as you can in the areas where you have little or no exposure. You may not have all the skills or experience, but they can be acquired. When I took the SPHR, I was new to the US. I was already certified in Canada and needed to brush up on my US compensation and benefits, as well as labor relations, which are both structurally different between the countries. In preparation, I purchased an educational textbook on each topic. Then the week of the exam, I took off work and spent that time studying like it was a full-time job. It was a painful process, but I was successful. I try to take the SPHR as a refresher every 5 years when the exam content changes and the process is grueling, mostly me having anxiety. There's no one preparation method that can meet everyone's needs, so leverage multiple resources are a great idea. Study groups can be useful, either online or in person. As you'll remember, HRCI allows 120 days from the application approval to take the exam. If you feel you'll need more time, begin your journey, then apply within that window. Once you apply and receive approval, you're on the clock, so every day has to count. Most candidates will spend 10 to 12 weeks or 100 to 120 hours preparing. Each person will be different. Create a schedule that will be right for you. This table displays the courses similarly to what we looked at the start. Let's have a look at the details. The weighting of the 5 functional areas specifies the technical and operational proficiency at the PHR level. We've subdivided each of these functional areas into a series of courses to cover the exam content. The content is structured from the perspective of starting a new business and employing the life cycle approach to cover the functions. Employment legislation is foundational and covered within each of the functional areas. However, this is also a course, so it's easy to transfer and to reference. PHR candidates are responsible for knowing the HR laws and regulations that are in effect at the time of their exam. The current exam is based on 2018. One of the biggest challenges of any exam is fearing the unknown. You're now in the know. Let's recap the salient points and prepare to embark on preparation. The ability to apply knowledge. The range of HR topics we'll cover will be broad, so you will inevitably learn something theoretical or practical that will be applicable on the exam. Federal requirements will be after 1960. You'll be required to have a knowledge of key employment legislation prior to 1960, such as the National Labor Relations Act of 1935, but you will not be specifically tested on any act outside of 1960 to 2018. Generally accepted HR practices. It will be important to understand the common response that will be agreed to by the Society of HR Practitioners as the benchmark and best response for exam questions. On the knowledge heat map shown here, I've identified the number of videos covered in each course so you can see the depth and breadth of the content. There's no correlation with the volume of weightings or importance. Some functional areas are just more voluminous and will take more time to cover. A personalized copy of the knowledge heat map will help you identify your strengths and weaknesses. You can access a copy from the resources section of the website. This exercise will require some tools: your copy of the knowledge heat map, 3 highlighters or dots or pens, or 3 colors of your preference, HRCI's PHR exam content outline if you are unsure of what the courses may entail at a high level. Let's begin. Rate your skills based on the names of the 18 courses. Highlight in either red, yellow, or green. Red for an area where you may need help studying. Yellow if you've worked in this area or understand the concepts. And green, you're writing a book on this topic. Be completely honest about where you are, as it will determine where and how much time you would spend on preparation. That's it. This is your personal assessment and no need to share it. As you delve into the content, the color pattern may change, but this is a good starting point to gauge your time commitment. Also, don't ignore the green areas, as you'll want to keep them strong. Now, start to think about how you'll supplement your studying. One of the most valuable things you can do is invest in practice exams. There are plenty of resources available, but find a good resource that will match HRCI style or they will add no value. Look for exams that are based on the 2018 content as well as exams that will provide feedback. So now you can organize your study based on the results of your heat map. Assuming that you have 12 full weeks or more to study, here's a plan that may work for you. If you don't, think about how you can tailor it to fit. This plan accounts for working through Skillsoft's Professional Human Resources 2020 program, which is organized by life cycle processes. The first 11 weeks covers the functional areas with a practice exam after each functional area. This is suggested pace for going through the functional areas. This practice exam should be half an exam, so about 45 to 90 minutes in length and the same number of questions. It will be important that you take your own personal notes as you work through the content. Seeing and hearing will have a recall rate of 50% after 2 weeks. Writing things down helps solidify it to memory and making learning more active. Get into the habit of reading your notes after a video so you have the potential to increase retention 70 to 90% longer after 2 weeks. The week prior to the exam will be spent reviewing those personal notes. Taking full practice exams will provide the endurance testing needed before the big day. Plan to do something every day until exam day. It can be as simple as 10 flashcards a day or recapping your set of notes. Also, keep in mind, the longer you delay in taking the exam, the more effort you'll need to put into remembering the content. We'll review 2 options: a fixed exam date, which is planning backwards. Calculate the time between now and the exam date. Determine how you want to study during that time, and then schedule your time based on your personalized study plan. Option 2 is an open exam date, which is working forward. Determine how much time you want to commit to studying each week. Schedule that time on the calendar and stick to it. And then be sure to keep the exam deadline in mind.